Welcome to Take That Sportscast, guys.
What's up?
We're here to do some more baseball. What a shock.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to discuss some X factors for each division. We'll discuss a possible triple crown. And who would we build our franchise around if given a chance?
I wonder who JM is going to pick for that.
I wonder where Devin's pitcher is.
Oh!
Shut up and sit down.
He is going to draw second is off.
To my side is Devin Holmes. Below me is JM. Solely goes by JM. And I'm Kyle Davis. Nice to have you all here again.
He goes by Kyle Davis.
I go by Kyle Davis.
Sometimes Keel.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I put up with it. So again, welcome to Take That Sportscast. And I think we'll just start with the X factors. And do we want to start in the American League today?
Sure. I'm down for that.
All right. Why don't you start it off, Devin?
All right. So I'm going to start with the AL West. I'm going to go with an X factor that, you know what, guys, I know I'm not the only one that's been wanting to see him play. And that is Full Potential. I think you guys too. I'm talking Shohei Ohtani. If this guy can get it, if this guy can be, what we think he could be, a quality pitcher and a threat at the bat. I mean, come on, let's take it. Let's just consider, spring training. He was pitching a game and leading off. That's incredible. If this dude could stay healthy and, maybe help the Angels, not be redundant, help get Mike Trout that first playoff win. I mean, come on. The Angels would be a lot more fun.
That's something we could all root for.
Exactly.
Yeah, Ohtani, if he could just stick with it and actually be who he's supposed to be, which is a pitcher and hitter, I mean, I can't see them at least winning more games. I can't really think of many more players besides him, but he's a huge X factor when it comes to that team in general. So I definitely see where you're getting this from. Ohtani is definitely on my list as well.
He could be so much fun if he, goes all out.
Yep.
Well, for me, my pick in the American League West is from Houston, and it is Carlos Correa.
Okay. I
think as Correa goes, maybe Houston goes. Obviously, they don't have Springer anymore. They are kind of in a bit of a, I won't call it rebuild, but kind of a new
possible
waters
transition.
Transition time for a franchise that was expected to win multiple World Series. Obviously, only won the one that was suspect at best, and so if Houston wants any hope in the American League West, well, at least not even in the West, I think they are going to be competitive in the division, but at least making another deep playoff run. Remember, they were in the ALCS a year ago. I think it's going to depend on Correa. And then the fact is that you know, he's heading towards a contract year as well. So I think Correa is definitely going to be an X factor in the American League West. And depending on how he goes, so may Houston and the rest of the AL West, depending on how Houston finishes.
It's easy to kind of forget about the Astros because you just want to get them out of your head. But I'm glad you're keeping them in mind and at least thinking of them.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to press on from what we saw. But
And yours?
So from the AL West in Oakland, I pick, and we actually talked about this last week or the week before, Elvis Andrus. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I think it's Andrus.
All right, there you go. My
So
first
close.
or second one. I don't know. Anyway,
First one today.
First one today. I pronounce names wrong, so deal with it, everyone.
Don't worry, we'll have a segment one day just to show how bad or good Kyle could be at some of these names.
There will be a segment. Basically, this trade needs to go over well for them. I didn't see the point in Oakland trading Simeon. I don't see where their viewpoint is. I get they got a bunch of, cash and it's able to, keep players on their team. If Andrus can stay healthy and also outshine Simeon, then they can win. He needs to outshine him, not just be good and be great. He needs to outshine him in order for that trade to be worth it.
Yeah.
And sorry, but I just want to clarify for you, Kyle. He was not, the A's did not trade Simeon. He was just a free agent.
Sorry.
I got you.
Yeah. They did get Andrus through a trade, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Mr. 247.
Well, if we're sticking with the American League, where do you want to go? You're the one that let us off. You're the leadoff hitter. Try and get us on base.
Let's go to the Central, work our way from the West Coast to the East Coast. I'm going to go with the guy that just signed the big contract, Liam Hendricks. If the Chicago team's going to go as far as a lot of people think, and myself included, I think this team. Do I want to say that now? No, I'm not going to say that now. I'm not going to, put any bad hexes or bad juju on the south side of Chicago. But yeah, if this team's going to be at the level that a lot of people think they're going to be, they're going to need their closer to be that lights out closer. So that way, once it's the ninth inning, the other team might as well just go back home packing.
I liked what I saw from him. I don't see him not doing well, but you're absolutely right. He's one of those guys that if he doesn't do well, it's not going to go well.
No.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely is going to be a key to the American League Central, how well the man from down under, Liam Hendricks, does. From Perth, Western Australia.
I'm just going to branch off of Devin real quick because he kind of took mine.
Okay.
As long as he lives up to everything, it should be fine. I don't see him really failing. And if he does do well, the entire team is just going to follow suit. He's almost kind of like the leader of the line, if you were to call it, not the leadoff guy, but the line leader almost. And if he's doing well, I think the team will do well.
job of elementary school, the line leader.
Yep.
The envy job of my elementary school was this is off topic a little bit, but it was the cafeteria. Like if you got to work the cafeteria, you were like the cool kid,
They made you work in elementary school. That's hilarious.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can just imagine a little JM with a little hairnet. You want some mashed potatoes? Oh no, we're out of milk. We got to go back and stock up the milk.
Actually, the real in that, and then the real king of that was being the in the snack bar. Like if you controlled the snack bar,
You controlled everything.
yeah, like I'm also gonna pick a pitcher from the Southsiders, and that is Lucas Giolito, 26 years old, out of Burbank, California, and looks
Wasn't it
to be
Giolito?
Giolito. And then there you go. See, none of us can pronounce names.
I actually knew that. I thought he said that though. I guess I didn't.
Kyle, you
hear
had
it.
your chance.
I know. Shit.
Yeah, had his chance, missed it. All right, Lucas Giolito, 26 years old. I think he looks to be the ace of the Shy Sox staff. He's quite good. Did have that no hitter last year that I watched because every time there's a no hitter, I put on my MLB.TV and have it on, and I'm looking for my Padres to get there first, but I digress. Lucas Giolito.
That update ever come?
Yeah, I he is in a contract year himself. His contract status I know is 1 year, $4.15 million is what he'll be making. So he'll be a free agent next offseason.
Are you sure that's not just an arbitration year? Because that seems really low for a guy of his standards.
It may be arbitration. All I know is he's probably going to be. He only has 1 year. If I'm looking at Baseball Reference right now.
Yeah, arbitration years are just 1 year deals.
Right.
Mister, I know so much about sports. My knowledge is so great.
Well, it is great. It is great, and I'm
just greatly lacking.
And all right, looking at Lucas Giolito and how I think he's
Giolito. See, I know that one.
And it is
for you to say something, Kyle.
It is interesting to see his projections. He is projected over a 4 ERA this year.
Wow, he's in the Trevor Bauer range? Wow, that's shocking.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised there. But you look. I think he's going to be key. I mean, he's projected over 200 strikeouts. And again, I think he could be the ace of the Shy Sox staff. I really like him. I think he seems like a cool dude. He's and he's in that 26-year range. And usually they say your prime, baseball is between, starts really at 26 and goes to around 29 to 30. That's kind of your prime, those 4 years. So he's entering his prime, and I would love to see how he does, especially as he enters a potential contract year. I think he would want to avoid arbitration again this year or next off season and become, a potentially big name, big money guy for any team. But I think the Shy Sox would definitely want him to stick around after this year. But he is my X Factor. Lucas is in the AL Central.
So interesting, in ALC, all our answers were for the White Sox.
Yeah.
Well, I think the White Sox are the most exciting team in the Central. I mean,
they look so fun to watch. I can't wait to watch them.
The Tigers are bad. The Indians are heading into a rebuild. The Royals, maybe they could be a surprise team, but they're kind of that small market team. I think guys are just biased against the Royals because of 2015.
They also just aren't that good.
Not anymore.
Now. They're rebuilding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Twins can get the wins back in their logo once they get out of the American League wildcard round.
So, Jam, just to clarify, Lucas Giolito will not be a free agent until 2024.
Really? Because I was looking at...
He's got that many arbitration years left. Yep.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Sports knowledge from me, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, again, it says 2021 contract status signed to 2021 on here.
That's an arbitration year. Yeah. And especially when you
Arbitration
said only four
eligible.
mil. When you only
Yeah.
said 4 mil, that was way too low for a final year, especially of a pitcher of his caliber.
Right. So I apologize. I was wrong on one little fact. I do see
Also
now
on Lucas
2020.
Giolito's name
Yeah,
twice.
twice.
Giolito denies you, JM.
Yep.
I'm giving him the X factor. I like the dude. Sorry, I butchered your name.
You just don't like him enough to remember his name or know anything about him. All right. So now I'm going to go start off our X Factor in the final division in the American League. We're going to go to the East. And I'm going to go for the guy that's replacing JM's new favorite, one of his new favorites. Going with the pitcher Tyler Glasnow. Famously came over in that trade for Chris Archer, who is now his teammate in Tampa Bay. And you know what, Glasnow, if you're the new ace in town, there ain't no more Blake Snell. Let's see what you got. Can you lead this Rays team back to the playoffs? Or is it just going to be a doormat for the Yankees to walk right through? I'm not sure. All I know is they got a good team still, but do they have an ace? If Glasnow can be that ace, different ballgame. But if he's not, well, Rays, you're going to be looking over in San Diego and you're going to be seeing Snell pitch and you're going to be wondering, what if?
I saw a little,
and it's going to hurt even more knowing, what if he just stayed in that game where he was mowing down the Dodgers?
I was just going to say, there was a little article that interviewed him and he's like, I'll probably miss being over there like forever. I found that pretty interesting. So I don't even know if it's about him doing well. I'm wondering if it's about him being like determined or enthused about being on this team.
For sure.
So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a good point to bring up.
JM, who you liking in the AL East? Who's your X factor?
My X factor is
Before we rip it
Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Nomi Stoparo, as John Sterling will say when he belts a home run. Although, again, and like I said in our last episode, the key for the Yankees is staying healthy. And I think one of those big keys is Giancarlo. You're paying this guy a boatload of money. And you traded a bunch to get him from Miami. What do you want to, you need him to be successful, I feel like, and you need him to stay healthy and live up to that potential that we've seen over the years from Giancarlo, formerly
Absolutely.
Mike Stanton. So he is my X factor for the American League East. I'm very excited to see how the Yanks do. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Giancarlo as my X factor in the AL East.
Nice. Kiel.
I'm literally going to branch off of that because I have Kluber as my X factor. He's doing good and he looked good, but there's just still some things here and there that kind of concern me. It's not really concerning. It's more like he needs to do well in order for the Yankees to propel. And it's not just him. And that's why it was hard for me to determine a solid X factor for the Yankees, because it seems like just injury is the X factor for the Yankees. And one of the main ones.
I have the second pick.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Sorry.
Well, I know who he's taking number 2.
Oh boy. Second pick of the draft. Looks like number 1 is Big Sexy. Who's Big Sexy?
That's me. Wait, whom did I get? What?
You got the first pick?
Nice.
Collusion. There is definitely something shady happening if you got the first pick.
What? Are you kidding? Don't fucking start that shit.
No, there's been
If it was collusion, wouldn't he give you like the 4th pick or somewhere in the middle?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
What was yours, Devin?
6.
Ooh.
It's not bad.
Yeah, exactly.
As I was saying, in the American League East, the Yankees' X factor is their injuries. And basically, I couldn't pinpoint one single X factor.
Kind of taking my one of my topics from last week, I see.
I know, but it's too in front of your face where it's like, well, yeah, the Yankees could be good, but not a contender to at least
Not
in
a
my
contender.
eyes. Yeah.
Not a contender.
Britain is doing well through elbow surgery. As I see it right now. It doesn't look like it's going to be a problem. But again, that's part of the X factor, part of the injuries. Chapman was involved with, he got injured at one point. Most people do anyway, but Chapman, he added, what was it? A splitter change to his yeah. And I think if that catches players off guard, it will really make a long run and have them be a contender.
Yeah. I'll start off the National League. We'll start in JM's favorite division. Not only are we going to start with JM's favorite division, I'm going to bring up his favorite team because they have an X factor on that. In that rotation, I'm not talking Darvish. I'm not talking Snell. I'm going to talk about the guy that bitched and moaned he didn't win Rookie of the Month in 2019. I'm going to talk about Chris Paddock, the guy that was 2 years ago seen as the future ace of this San Diego team. Look, Dodgers have a stacked rotation. Regardless of what I think about it, he's still a good pitcher. And if the Padres are going to battle it out with the Dodgers, your rotation's got to be deep. And you don't have Clevenger. He's still recovering from Tommy John. Snell and Darvish can, they can win you 2 out of the 3. But with Paddock, can you win that 3rd game? It's put up or shut up time for him. You see how this rotation is going to be.
I think he's going to put up. Not only him, but also look out for Dinelson Lamet.
Well, I'm focusing mainly on Paddock, and he's definitely got to get those home run numbers down. And let's see if he's overrated, or let's see if he's as good as everyone says he is. Let's see.
I'm going to branch off of you, Devin, because I went also with a Padres pitcher, and he's at the bottom of the line. And I also think he's a sleeper. And that's why I put him as an X factor. Because if this sleeper goes on and does sleeper stuff where it comes out of nowhere, my guy is Joe Musgrove. Pretty much the only thing somewhat good to come from Pittsburgh. So I think even though he'll be down in the rotation spot, if San Diego is able to get that sleeper to surprise all their opponents, especially the Dodgers, I can't see them not winning that division.
No, I think they're still solid 2. Those poor whale vagina Padres.
We'll put it this way. Are you more invested in Chris Paddock or Joe Musgrove?
I think it matters more with Paddock because,
I do think it matters more, but I think it gives them those extra wins, and especially if they're versing the Dodgers on one of their 4 or 5 down days. where they don't have
Where
terrific
it's what,
pitching.
David Price or Dustin May or Julio Urias? Those are a lot of 2 and 3s for a lot of rosters. No, that's like
No,
a
I
5,
know.
6.
I'm saying Joe Musgrove has to be a sleeper to that,
Oh,
as
yeah.
in
To
living
even
up
stand a
to.
chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I mean, all of them have to. JM, I wonder what team you're going to go with.
I'm actually going to go up the 5, and I'm going to choose a player from the LA Dodgers, a player we all know and somewhat love. A man who plays with drones, who chucks balls into center field, who trolls the Mets on Twitter and other people on Twitter.
Devin.
I'm going to go with Bauer.
No, the
Trevor
Mets
Bauer.
troll him. The Mets troll him. He doesn't troll the Mets. The Mets troll.
Yeah, he kind of trolled the Mets with that old jersey thing.
He got
you can't
got so
deny.
butthurt when Syndergaard tweeted at him or did a subtweet about him.
Listen. We can argue about the subtweets and the Twitter. As Devin happily shared with us, both in our little group text we have and on Twitter, the the 4 home runs he gave up in spring training against Seattle.
3 and 4 batters. I loved it. Oh, I
Yeah,
loved
3
every
home runs
single
and 4
moment
batters.
of it.
Spring training doesn't matter, but what matters is how well your new 2-year, $85 million man is going to do. And I think that's going to be very key, because the Dodgers obviously invested a lot of capital in there, and they want him to repeat his performance in the shortened season a year ago, in which he was very good, a Cy Young winner.
That ain't happening. That ain't
And
happening.
some people would say that his ERA is going to balloon back to over 4, and other people say he's going to be maybe not as great, but still a solid pitcher for the LA Dodgers. So he is my X factor in the division. I'm surprised. I'm going with my rival team, mainly because I don't want to be boring. I don't want to always talk about my team, the Padres, even though they're going to be the most exciting team in baseball.
Maybe.
I want to bring up our rivals, and I want to bring up Trevor Bauer, and and I do hope that Devin is right. He does have an over 40 ERA, and he can at me too at G-Money18C. So, and you know what? I want to recommend this to our loyal listeners and watchers and fans. Let's just all maybe tweet at Bauer Outage and try and get him to notice this video. It'd be funny if he goes after our little small-time startup podcast.
Bauer sucks.
Exactly.
I'm giving him enough fodder that he can try to attack me with.
Yeah, and I am too.
Be like,
you can get owned by Machado.
This big athlete trying to shut me down. Like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
You got better uses of your time.
Now, with those homers, do you think he was trying to do something like work on
I think he was
certain
trying to get the
pitches?
ball into the catcher's mitt, and it didn't work.
I do know against the Padres, he had one eye open, one
I
eye
saw
closed
that
when he
video.
was pitching. That really annoyed me.
Yeah, that kind of annoyed me too.
Look at that. You guys are finally starting to say things where I say that he's a douche.
There's certain things that we can agree on that annoy the shit out of us. And that's definitely one where it's like, really? Wink?
Yeah. You wanted to see Jacob deGrom do that. Only a Mickey Mouse Cy Young winner would do that.
Squeak, squeak.
Squeak, squeak.
Now, this is the only one where I kind of cheated. I did a little double dip, and I picked 2 guys as my little X factor here.
The double dipper. No one likes the double dipper. They get
that is very true. No one does like the double dipper. But you know what? I have my own sauces here. I'm the only one using them. It's COVID safe. This is the one time I'm going to do it. I'm going with a pair of pitchers from a team I know Kyle likes very much, and we talked about this team in the last episode. I'm going with Castillo and Gray.
Yeah, baby.
Going with those pitchers as my X factors because, look, I know I said that I was bigger on the Cubs. I don't see them going under 500. I know their pitching is weak and everything. Kyle's very big on Cincinnati. They were a popular pick last year. I mean, the Brewers, you have to imagine Yelich is going to be better, but there's no real pitcher in that division that, necessarily scares me. So if Castillo and Gray can continue their momentum, maybe these Red Legs, maybe they find themselves in October. But the only thing we know for sure is that those two guys at the top of the rotation, they're either balling or they're being traded going somewhere else.
You kind of name dropped my X factor for the National League Central in your little spiel there, and that was Christian Yelich. How can he not be the X factor? He is the star in town in Milwaukee. He is definitely going to be in that outfield. We had that discussion last week when we discussed what team would, I guess 2 weeks ago now. Time's flying. 2021's flying by. Thank goodness. As far as Christian Yelich goes, the Brewers go. Brewers are, I think, a bit of a dark horse playoff candidate. I think they could make a run if all goes right. And it certainly seems, at least with some of their core, like Kane getting older and all that, that this is their time to win if they want to win with this core. I do understand Yelich is under contract through 2029, but he is, I believe, 30, and so I do want to, I do think he's going to be the X factor as the star of that team, as the centerpiece you build around for Milwaukee.
Yeah. Well, again, do you mean like to even have a winning shot or just to be competitors?
I think, honestly, to have a shot at making a playoff run, not just making the playoffs and being out at a wild card round, but making a potential run to the NLDS or even NLCS. I think that's the height the Brewers could reach, honestly.
Even with Cincinnati pitching above them?
Yes. I think Cincinnati still has about a year of growth before they're
Gotcha.
that kind of team.
Depends how their top two pitchers do, though, of course.
Exactly.
My NLC team, I literally just went with the Cubs bats. I know we're doing X factors like one person, but
we gave
if you're to
double dipping, you're taking
I was cheating with two, but you take an entire
I didn't know.
Here, so I'll make it so Baez is the X factor. Baez is the X factor for the Chicago Cubs just to even be playing people.
I would say Bryant is more. They could get Bryant back to his MVP form, then that team can really start moving.
Yeah, again, it's
Baez. I don't think it's dropped nearly as much as Bryant has.
No way. Baez is still pretty much Baez. He dropped off.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He hasn't dropped nearly as much as Bryant.
But I think when we're talking about X factors, we're talking about the guys that are going to be crucial to their teams. Who's that guy that you absolutely need? And I do think it's, for the Cubs case, Javi Baez.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, for the NL East. And guys, if we look a little bit different, we had some tough technical difficulties at one point. We had to, move some things around, so hang in with us. But my closer, my X factor for the NL East, I'm going with the guy that could really make some noise. I'm going Edwin Diaz, closer of the Mets. And I'm saying if he's closer to 2018 and how he was in 2020, more than he was in 2019, Mets are running away with this division. I'll say at least 6 games.
I can't believe you're saying that.
I wouldn't even be surprised if it was double digits.
Wow.
That's absurd.
Look, you get this guy, if he can return to that top 5 closer realm. Well, I think we could agree he has the talent. He did not have whatever happened in 2019. I think is out of the system. Nationals are good. I honestly would think that the Nationals are a bigger threat to the Mets this year than the Braves are.
I don't think so.
I think the Braves are the biggest threat.
I think the Braves are the biggest threat.
We talked about them in the over-under episode, and they're around 93, 94 wins.
Yeah.
I think the Braves are the biggest threat. Again, the Braves issue hasn't been the
Again, I'm
regular
not
season, it's been
impressed.
the playoffs.
Their rotation leaves too much to be desired for me. Too
Again,
much.
you're not gonna have strength.
Mets
You're not
also had a top offense in the National League last year. Had the highest batting average out of all NL teams.
right.
They were right there with the Braves offensively, so that I'm not worried about. It's the pitching, and very clear edge that the Mets have better pitching.
If the Mets win the division, it's gonna be in the last couple of days of the season. They're not gonna win it by 6 games, even if Edwin Diaz is lights out.
Correct.
Because another question is, say closers are only as good as when you get them a chance. So how many, you're gonna for him
How
to be
many
great?
closing opportunities will he
Yeah,
have?
how many closing opportunities?
I can think of at least 30 right now. At
Every time
least, and that's the minimum.
DeGrom pitches, perhaps.
Yeah. Every DeGrom start.
Yeah.
So that's what
I
32
just don't
opportunities right there.
I don't see
Yeah,
by 6+ wins, so
I don't see that. So bold take, and I appreciate the bold takes, and that's what makes our show great. Is we have bold takes. Like my defense take that they're the most improved defense, the Mets. I've gotten a lot of grief from that from certain people, Devin. Or you're saying they're not a great defense and they're going to win the division by 6 games?
I just call it a hunch.
Well, maybe I call them the most improved defense on a hunch.
For my NL East X Factor, I'm going to the Phillies. It's a little shout out to my friend. I have Spencer Howard as the X Factor. Basically, he's 24 years old. He's having back spasms right now, so he needs to get healthy. If he steps up, it's going to be huge for the Phillies, who have Aaron Nola, Wheeler, Eflin. If they live up to their max potential, and then Spencer Howard comes in as a pretty decent pitcher, I think he will actually make or break that starting rotation. Vince Velasquez or whatever.
Velasquez.
Yeah. He's just not good enough. It's just plain and simple. They picked up Matt Moore and Chase Anderson on the free agency. So that's another 4 and 5 spot that could be filled. So if one of them, does something, it'll fill that spot up. And honestly, if that Archie Bradley free agent pickup goes well, that relief staff is basically stacked. You only need those 2 guys, Hector Neris and Archie Bradley.
Well, they had arguably the worst bullpen. They had the worst bullpen in baseball last year. Arguably one of the worst in baseball history.
But if Archie Bradley comes in and there's 2,
that's a lot for one guy to change it that much. Best case scenario for Philly is 3rd place. That's their best case scenario.
That's my thinking, but I'm just trying to look at the uptick and, again, the X factor. Basically, if Archie Bradley lives up to the setup of Hector Neris, it will be a quote-unquote complete relief staff. I know it's not complete, literally, and
close to complete.
It might not make a huge effect, but he is one of their X factors. JM for his National League East X Factor.
Ronald Acuna Jr., one of Kyle's favorite players of the Atlanta Braves. And the only thing that's offensive about this is that they stole it from Florida State. He is much like Christian Yelich is in Milwaukee, but maybe even more so for Atlanta. And like we said, we're a little bit worried about Atlanta's pitching staff. So their bats really need to step up and make up for a bit of that lack in pitching. And Ronald Acuna Jr. as the centerpiece of the lineup is going to be key for that. As Acuna goes, so does the Braves lineup. And as the Braves lineup goes, so do the Atlanta Braves. If they're going to really be the NL East champions that I think they're going to be and make a deep playoff run, potentially to the World Series, they need Ronald Acuna Jr. to be that star player that he has been for the last couple of years, and continue to build as he continues into his prime here as one of the best ball players in the majors. If he can continue to keep that up and keep those numbers up, I'm high on the Braves as a potential World Series contender, and finally getting that monkey off Atlanta sports back.
They could keep it on their back a little longer.
As a Mets fan, yes, they can keep it on.
Not
their
even
back.
just as a Mets fan. I also think the Atlanta Falcons, I know we're crossing over to a little bit of NFL talk, but one of my biggest takes over the past decade, Matt Ryan had absolutely no right winning that MVP when he did. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm just letting all of Atlanta come and attack me to hate. So, you know what? That's fine.
All right, so let's go to our triple crowns. With the three of us, we will start with the AL. And you know what? I'll go first.
Okay. I like
Vlad
it, Kyle.
Guerrero Jr. Vlad Guerrero Jr. I can't say it one more time, but I will. Vlad Guerrero Jr. I think this guy is going to live up to the potential of like probably the most hyped up guy in baseball. Basically, I think he's going to carry Toronto. Toronto has improved significantly this offseason. And like a prior episode that I stated in, I think they're going to beat the Yankees. I know it's sounds nuts, but
By the
That'd
way,
be
my
fun.
dad was watching. Shout out to my dad for watching these episodes. And he was like, oh, you guys like had to talk about Toronto. Who cares about Toronto?
I care about Toronto.
Yeah, see, people care about Toronto.
People
about
care.
Toronto. My triple crown pick, it's a little bit boring. It's a little bit predictable for the American League, as will my National League one be. But I'm going to go with Mike Trout. I mean, you can't
Same.
really debate that he's always a triple crown threat. I mean, the dude.
Water is wet, grass is green. Mike Trout's very good at hitting baseballs.
And fielding. I know that's not part of the triple crown, but man, he's so exciting. And I do have a little bias as he is also from New Jersey. Shout out to the people way down in South Jersey, Millville, where he grew up, and face of the Angels. A lot of people wanted him to be the face of baseball. I think, well, he's a nice guy, but he doesn't really have that like capture personality that captures your attention, like some guys. Like I think Tatis is, but he's a tremendous ball player. I think he lets his game do the talking, and you can't really fault him for that. He lets his game do the talking, and his game's talking this year very well might be for that triple crown. The first, I believe, since one Miguel Cabrera did it back in, what was it, 2014, 2013, when Miguel Cabrera captured it.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. That sounds good to me. I always like Trout.
Yeah, I did the same. I picked Trout because, like I said before, grass is green, water is wet. Mike Trout's good at hitting a baseball. Just
Now let me
simple truths of life.
let me start with my national triple crown. I'm going to head down the 5 once again. You can tell I'm from California because I say the 5. And we'll head down to San Diego. And of course, my main man, Fernando Tatis Jr. I think he's going to be the best player. I think he's going to become that best player of baseball, that face of baseball. And a way to become the face of baseball, go for that triple crown. So Fernando Tatis Jr. is my pick for triple crown. I think he's going to hit with power. He's going to hit with hitting a lot of runs, and he's going to hit at a high average.
I'm going on Soto because he's a Mets killer. So naturally, he's going to rake against the Mets. He is one of the great shining stars of baseball. And he's probably just going to, wreck shop through everything. And yeah, he's just damn good at baseball. And I hate it. I hate Juan Soto because he is a national. And cannot wait for the day he is no longer in the NL East.
And that might be a day long in the future.
I still can't wait for it.
My National League triple crown is Acuna.
Wow.
Sorry, he's fast. He's strong. He can field. He can. He's
Well,
just.
fielding doesn't mean anything in the
I
triple
don't
crown.
care. He's just an ultimate baseball player, and that's what it
Eye
takes.
tools is what we call that. Eye tools.
Yep. Who
Yep.
would you build your franchise around?
Who
Well,
would you
what?
build your franchise around, Kyle? Because I have an idea of who you're going to pick.
Ronald
You do?
Acuna.
Well, he was on my list, but if
Jacob
I'm
deGrom.
putting myself in that situation and I'm starting completely fresh and have to build a team around them, it's got to be Tatis or Soto. They're young. They literally have nothing to prove because they've proven themselves already. Even with Tatis not really doing much, he already shines like a brighting star. So I don't
Shine bright like a diamond.
exactly.
I don't know.
There's these young players like that just shine like that, and
Future of baseball, man.
it's Tatis and Soto, and that's who I would build around.
Going back to Cali.
And I am picking the guy that has the playoff experience. And now he's finally got his first title. I'm going Cody Bellinger. That's who I'm starting a franchise with. He's young. I could play him in any spot in the outfield. He can play first base. Dude rakes. Dude's a hitter. And yeah, if I'm gonna start with a good player that's young and yeah, I mean honestly, all he's done is win since he's been in the majors.
I like
Is
the
gonna be
I like the versatility and the experience that he has, and that would definitely help.
and he's still incredibly young.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, again, not as young as Tatis or Soto, but yeah,
Not that far off.
no, not that far off for sure, and that's why I like your pick. He's young enough, but he's old enough to have experience and versatility, and as long as they get one of those spots filled, whether it's the outfield or first base spot.
Yeah, it's 4 spots that I don't even have. One of
Yeah,
4 spots I don't have to worry about.
exactly.
You know what? I don't know what it is about baseball. I feel like there's very few sports where the sons of great players are great. Blue Jays are building a team of sons of great players, Cavan Biggio, Bo Bichette, and of course, in the centerpiece is Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's exciting. He's fun to watch. Has that flair. And he may even be better than Pops, which would be quite the accomplishment because Vladimir Guerrero Sr., who was one of my favorite non-Padres of all time, was a tremendous player in his own right for Montreal and later the Angels. So certainly that would be the ultimate goal for Toronto is to build around that guy and bring a title back to the North and join the Raptors as getting titles north of the border.
He also worked on his fitness overall.
Oh yeah.
His speed has increased to the point where, if something looks like it could be a questionable single or double, it'll end up more like a double, if anything.
Turning singles into doubles is a big deal. Get into scoring position.
Exactly.
He's my pick, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Great episode, guys. Despite the challenges, I want to thank Kyle, my producer. I want to thank my co-host Devin. Great episode trace. We're gonna have a special fantasy baseball episode coming up as well. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and yeah, we're just getting started here on the Take That Sportscast. I want to thank everyone who's been watching. Little community building up, and we're going to continue to build it up. And
a nice little fuck you to Trevor Bauer.
Exactly. I also endorse that because he's on the Dodgers.
These two are just going to keep doing that the whole season.
Well, especially Devin. I mean, the only bone I have to pick with Bauer is that he's on the Dodgers. And I also kind of want to get him I want to take that sportscast to get on his radar because that could be what to the moon like GameStop.
I hope you guys are right.
I know where my hill is, and I will die on that hill. Trevor Bauer is overrated.
Mr. Charlie Brown on that hill just gonna get smacked.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for Take That Sportscast. We'll see you next time.
As you saw this year, we got 275 ERA. Fly ball.